Let's give it a hand. It's hand day. We're going to work on some hands today, and well, we're going to show you 3 or 4 different styles and give you a hand in making those cool balloons. Let's go. So, hey, let's give it a hand for you because, hey, you're learning how to do balloons, and also let's give you a hand because you're watching here. So thank you for supporting the channel with those likes, subscribes, all that good stuff. Tell your friends. If you're part of different Facebook groups, tell people about it. You know, it helps. So as this video is being shot right now, we're just at about 270 subscribers. So thank you so much for the growth over this last month. In 30 days, we almost had an increase of about 70 people or 70 subscribers. So thank you so much. And we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it going strong. So hands. When I'm making a body, usually the first place I start is the hands, the paws, whatever it is. And I build up and go up to my shoulder. Now, the very first thing I'll make overall is the head, because wherever the head is, that will give me my spatial, that will give me my sizing, that will let me figure out what the rest of the body is going to look like. You know, I don't want a really skinny, incredible Hulk, and I don't want a gigantic, muscular princess. It could be, but usually they're a little less on the thinner side. So we're going to be covering heads later on, and I have a special class I'm going to be teaching in January in Washington, D.C. at Capital Kidvention. That's Capital with a K and Kidvention with a K. And I'm going to be teaching a special class there on how to make my face, and we're going to be releasing a video for that right when that conference is over. So think of this as a little bit of a preview for that. But today we're going to start off with hands. So hands make the balloon. There's something that people don't expect. They think the face is really cool. The body pulls it all together, and they're cool with that. But so when you add the feet, the shoes, the hands, the mitts, whatever it is, it kind of like blows people's minds that you thought about that detail. Now, I'm going to show you a couple different ones. So like if I'm making my Spider-Man or a fast balloon character or cartoon character, it's extremely simple. All I'm actually going to be doing is 2-ear twist. Okay, so I'm going to do my first ear twist. And if you forgot how to do it or you don't know how to do an ear twist, go into the playlist. There's a playlist for techniques and look for the one that says ear twist. All the techniques we do, there's a video for it. If not, there will be shortly. So once we do our first ear twist, there we go. So we got our first ear twist. Now what we're going to do is actually a second ear twist. And so if I'm making, let's say Spider-Man, and it's a simple version, or if I'm doing something that's, let's say, more speed-oriented and not necessarily as detailed, that's probably all I'm going to do. I'm going to just do the paws, the hands just like that, and that's going to be my finishing point. Now, if I want to do something fancier toward the end, I'll add the individual fingers into that ear twist. But that gives me my stationary point, and also when I'm twisting, I don't need to worry about it coming undone as it's hitting my body, that I might if it was just individual fingers. So that's the first way. And really, for most things I make, if it's line work, that's good enough. Just simple, quick, effective. And most people, they don't really expect anything else because they've never seen anything else. But let's take it up a notch. Now, the first time I've ever saw this was by John Holmes, the balloon artist. I believe he's out of Texas still, I think Dallas area. John had a big influence on me when I was getting going. I actually met him at a conference, I want to say it was in 96 or 97 in Grand Rapids, Michigan, International Fellowship of Christian Magicians. And he had, at the time, he was one of the leading guys with videos. And I bought all his videos that, like the first day I got there early because I was helping someone set up. And the first thing I did was, I was 15 or 16, or no, 14 or 15 at the time. And I just gave him the money. I'm like, I want your whole series of videos. And I'll talk about John later on more, but he was definitely influential that week and really encouraged me. At the end, he says, okay, you have 6 months to enjoy these videos, and then you got to get rid of them. He says, I don't want to influence your style that's being developed and how to do balloons. So get some ideas, learn the techniques, and then pass them on. And I did. And that was actually the last balloon video I ever bought was John Holmes' videos. So this is one of the things he showed on one of his videos. Actually, it was on his Jesus on the Cross balloon video, which is a classic. One of the best videos I've ever seen for showing the body and the structure and how to get like individual muscle groups and the spine, and just gorgeous. Highly recommend it if you can find it. So let me show you the hands that I learned from John. Again, don't need much air. And we're going to do this over on this other camera here because I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. So we have little bubbles that we're going to make. And each one's going to just pretty much be the width of your finger. And what we're going to do is we're going to make 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more. 5. And now this is a trick. We're going to ear twist them, but we're going to ear twist our last one first. And that's going to make a really unique shape. So we do our last one first. Then we're going to do now our last 2. Okay. Then our last 3. And just, again, so now you're seeing that the balloon is actually getting removed from the rest. Okay, see how that looks? Now we're going to do that last one, the 4th. So we'll do the last 4 all together. And this looks really cool if you do a gigantic chain of these. I use similar technique for my sunflowers. For the center of my sunflower, it gives a really cool spiral effect eventually. So that is our hand. And just by switching that in there, putting a little bubble, we have a hand. Hi. And that works for so many things. Great hand. It really pops. People can't believe that you got fingers in there. And that works really well for small sculptures. And if you want to do some other things in that same space, let me take that off. Captain Hook here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a really long tulip twist. We're going to just push that nozzle down nice and deep, as far as your finger will go. Some people use sticks or something like that to do it. And I just ripped off the nozzle. I think I have a little bit of hangnail or something that's ripping the balloon. And so when you pull out your finger, you then can push the air back in a little bit, twist it, and that gives you your hook. Okay? So when you twist it into your double ear twist, you have your hook. So now that we have our hook, you can also see that if you put maybe 2 other ones there, you're going to have maybe some claws for a dinosaur. If you use 1/60s, it looks really nice also. You might just need a stick to push the balloon in. Also, if you do like 3, looks like, 3-toed sloth, and if you have it on both sides, it kind of easy to put on the shirt. So it gives you that. So that's really the only, hands really aren't that complicated because, well, our hands mostly look the same. I mean, some variations and things like that. But if you want to go more detailed, maybe you're making something bigger. So let's make a real hand. We're going to need 2 balloons to start off with. Now there's a couple ways of doing this, but this is the way I like to do it. So each one, we're going to start off with just a small ear twist. Okay? We got our 2 ear twists, and we're just going to link those together. So now that kind of becomes the wrist for the balloon. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up a little bit and do another ear twist. And that's going to be the joint for one of my fingers. Then I'm going to go on the other side, do the same. Okay? See how that looks? Now, we're going to do a couple more bubbles in between. So, we'll do one here. And we're actually going to split twist this bubble. Again, watch the videos on in the technique section if you're not sure how to do a split twist. Split twist, ear twist, pop twist are all kind of related. So, we have one finger spot, 2, 3, and then that's going to be our 4th right here, and then you will see how we'll add the thumb. Okay? So now we have that. All right? We're now going to go back with our other balloon, and we're just going to double up everything. Kind of give that hand a little bit of extra girth. It's not needed, but I find that it helps. Just kind of make it a little bit more realistic on those bigger balloon sculptures. Again, this will be about life size. And then we're going to bring this down. Bring this other one down. Okay. And then take one of them and go up to your finger spot. And just push out the air. Go around. And then back down. Okay? So there is the outside of my hand. Gonna bring those bubbles up so that I have a place to lock them into. All right, so there's the inside of my hand. Okay. So now we're gonna be using these for the wrist if we were combining into something. But since we don't need both of them right now, we're just gonna take one. I'm gonna tie it off. And this is gonna be one of my fingers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a bubble, a small bubble, and then a bigger bubble. That gives me my knuckle. And we're gonna twist that right in there. Okay? I'm now just gonna bring that balloon over. Again, just pushing the air out of it. So push the air out of it. And this finger is gonna be a little bit bigger. Okay? So go a little bit higher. Make my knuckle. And then this one's just a little bit longer than the last one. Okay? And rip it off and tie it up. Okay. And we're just going to position these so you get an idea of where we're going. Okay? Again, this can look, and another way of doing this is with the 1/60s for your individual fingers. Right now, especially as we're getting started on these videos, I'm trying to particularly stay with 2/60s because most people who are just getting started are not buying multiple sizes of balloons. Eventually, we're going to be using 3/60s. We'll use the 1/60s. We'll use the 646s or 640s. We'll use all different sizes. But especially as we're getting this going, I understand that most people who are watching and learning and getting into this art form probably have only bought one size balloon. And that's why we're doing it. And I want to show you what it looks like. And later on, I'm sure when we're making some of the more fancy things later on, I'll be using 1/60s so you can see, how I would actually do it. But I want to give you guys an idea of the reality also. So, there's 2 fingers. Hey. Oh, I guess it would be that. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So let's add some more. So this will be the middle finger. So don't right now worry about your knots too much that are on the tips. Come back with scissors, take care of them. So we're gonna make this one a little bit longer yet. They're gonna be like Shaquille O'Neal sized hands, I think. Actually, these might be small for Shaquille O'Neal. Again, same thing, make sure the knuckle. And we're gonna do that last finger, and then we'll come back and do the thumb. Yes, finger and a thumb, they are different. And we got to make this one the smallest yet. Let's see, make sure I get my placement right. Yep, okay. So, actually, it's not quite the smallest, but yeah, matters what hand this is going to be on. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm ripping this off, but I'm going to hold this piece. And this will be my thumb. Now I want my thumb to get all that air right down to the end. So that, and this is why, because this one's not going to actually have a knuckle. This is just going to have a big curve in it to give it the shape I want. Okay? So we're going to actually twist this, not at a joint, but we're going to actually go inside. So this would be the thumb over here. Yeah, close enough. So we're going to tie it off. Okay, so we tied it, gave it its shape, okay, just by playing with it a little bit. And we're going to slide it right in there. And just take our end of nozzle and put it in. And that will give us this. Now, if you're doing cousin it, or not cousin it, the thing. Ooh. Actually, that wouldn't be a bad thing. So, and again, you wouldn't want to necessarily do it on these skinny hands or skinny arms, but you can get the idea of what it would look like. Okay? So that would be like if you're making, if I was making a character with out of like 646s or 350s, most likely, a big character like a Mario or something, I'll give them this size hands. So that they're not little hands on, you know, and they're more detailed than just, you know, a couple fingers. So that is some different hands designed for you. And I hope you find it handy. So again, these are pieces that you put together. Think of them like a potato head. Think of them like letters in the alphabet. You're going to figure out, okay, I'm making Hulk. Hulk has big hands, so I'm going to give him, you know, when I do my ear twists for the individual fingers, they're going to be thicker. Spider-Man, normal size hands, so they're going to be normal bubbles. If I'm making a princess, I'm going to do little tiny bubbles for her little tiny hands. So, you know, usually I use a lot more 160s with a princess because it's more feminine. It's not as bulky. So these are things you think about. And I hope this is helpful for you. And I hope this is something that you can add in your toolbox so that eventually you can start creating your own characters or figure out things. Because the cool thing is new things are coming out, new characters are coming out all the time. And a lot of times they're pretty similar. They have a torso, they have legs, they have feet, they have hands, they have a head most of the time, except Headless Horseman. But anyways, so there's certain similarities. And if you know how to do hands, feet, legs, upper body, lower body, then they all come together. You just put them together in the right way. So I hope this helps. If it does, leave a comment. Tell me what you think of these videos. Tell me what you think about the lighting, whatever you want. Just give me a comment. It really means a lot right now. I've had some amazing comments this last couple weeks that have really just given me a bunch of energy. So thank you very much for those who have written those. And again, a smile is free. A thank you only takes a moment, but an encouraging word at the right time can change a life forever. So again, thank you for those who've been sending the encouraging words on those comments. And I hope this is encouragement for you all to get going and really make something unique and have fun putting the pieces together. Adios. Till next time, keep on twisting.